Park Ranger Mike was on his usual patrol through the dense forest when he noticed something strange. High up in the trees, there seemed to be clusters of white spherical objects, almost like oversized eggs. Curiosity piqued, he decided to take a closer look and used his binoculars to get a better view. What he saw disturbed him. These eggs had an unusual textured surface that he couldn't quite place. Unsure of what to make of it, Mike noted the location and continued his patrol. He decided to report his findings to his partner, Ranger Lisa, when he got back to the ranger station. Mike's unusual discovery would soon turn their routine patrol into an urgent call to the police. Back at the ranger station, Mike relayed his findings to Lisa. "Hey Lisa, you won't believe what I came across today," he began, pulling out his map and pointing to the location. High up in the trees, I saw something that looked like giant eggs. Lisa raised an eyebrow and leaned in closer to the map. "Giant eggs? Are you sure?" she asked. Mike nodded, baffled. Skeptical but intrigued, Lisa suggested they return to the site together the next day. "Let's check it out first thing in the morning," Lisa proposed, folding the map. "We need to know what we're dealing with." Mike readily agreed, eager to solve the mystery. "Absolutely. I couldn't make heads or tails of it out there." They both felt a mix of excitement and unease as they prepared their gear for the following day's expedition. The two spent the evening researching possible explanations. Could it be some sort of insect nest, or perhaps a bird species they hadn't encountered before? They pored over books and online resources, but nothing seemed to match the strange white objects they saw. "Everything I find only raises more questions," Lisa muttered, scrolling through images of bird nests. Mike leaned over, squinting at her computer screen. "Same here. It's like nothing we've seen before." Their search yielded no satisfying answers, leaving them more perplexed than ever. "We're not getting anywhere," Mike admitted, rubbing his forehead. Lisa sighed in frustration, closing her laptop. "Looks like this is something we'll have to figure out on our own." Despite their exhaustive search, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing an important piece of the puzzle. They decided to call it a night, planning to resume their investigation with fresh eyes in the morning. A storm was rolling in, so they decided to leave the investigation until the weather cleared. "Looks like we've got a bit of bad luck with the weather," Mike said, glancing out the window at the darkening sky. "Yeah, let's not risk it," Lisa agreed. "Better to wait until it's safe to go back out there." They secured the ranger station and turned in for the night, both thinking about the strange white objects high up in the trees. When they returned to the site the following morning, they brought along climbing gear for a closer inspection. "Ready to get to the bottom of this?" Mike asked, securing his harness. "Absolutely," Lisa replied, double-checking the equipment. The forest was still damp from the storm, but the air was clear and crisp. They made their way back to the trees where Mike had seen the mysterious eggs, hoping for some answers as they prepared to climb. Mike scaled the tree first, carefully detaching one of the eggs and bringing it down to Lisa. "Here goes nothing," he said as he climbed, muscles straining with the effort. A few minutes later, he cautiously handed the object to Lisa. "It's definitely heavier than I expected," he noted, breathing heavily. Lisa cradled the object in her hands, examining it closely. "Yeah, and look at this seam," she pointed out, bewildered. The object was heavier than expected and had a small seam running around its middle. "This thing feels strange," Lisa commented, turning it around in her hands. Mike peered over her shoulder, equally puzzled. "Maybe it opens," he suggested, tracing the seam with his finger. They exchanged a glance, realizing this might be something completely different from what they initially thought. Both rangers felt their curiosity deepen as they continued to examine the peculiar object. Lisa pointed out that it looked more like a manufactured object rather than something organic. "Look at the precision of this seam. It's not natural," she said, scrutinizing the line that circled the object. Mike nodded, frowning. "Agreed. And it's too heavy for any kind of egg or nest we'd be familiar with," he replied. They both knew they had stumbled upon something more complex than a simple forest mystery. The next step would be crucial. They decided to take it back to the station for further examination, hoping that a closer look would yield some answers. Mike placed the object carefully in the back of their SUV. "Let's hope this gives us some clues," he said. Lisa nodded, fastening her seatbelt. The curiosity was driving them both, filling the silent car ride with a mix of anticipation and unease. What could this strange object possibly be? The forest seemed unusually silent as they made their way back, adding to their sense of unease. Even the birds appeared to be holding their breath. "Does it feel quieter than usual today?" Lisa asked, glancing around. Mike nodded, gripping the steering wheel a bit tighter. "Yeah, it's eerie," he replied. They shared a tense look, wondering if the forest knew something they didn't as they approached the station. Back at the station, Mike and Lisa set the object on a table and began a more detailed examination. "All right, let's see what we've got," Lisa said, putting on a pair of gloves. Mike leaned in, using a magnifying glass to inspect the seam. "This definitely isn't natural," he muttered. They took careful measurements and notes, hoping to uncover some clue about its origins. Each new observation only deepened the mystery. They tried to pry it open with no success, so they resorted to more sophisticated tools. "Let's try the small crowbar," Mike suggested, reaching for the tool. Lisa nodded and took the crowbar, carefully working it along the seam. After a few minutes of effort, they still couldn't get it to budge. "We need something more precise," Lisa concluded, setting the crowbar aside. Mike fetched a set of fine tools from the cabinet. After several minutes of careful effort, a hidden latch was discovered. "Hold on, I think I've found something," Lisa declared, probing a small indentation. Mike leaned in closer, shining a flashlight to get a better view. "You're right, it looks like a latch," he confirmed. They worked together to carefully manipulate it. After a tense moment, they heard a soft click, signaling the latch had been disengaged. Both felt a mix of relief and expectation. As they opened it, they found what appeared to be a small, cylindrical device inside. Mike and Lisa exchanged puzzled glances. "What on earth is this?" Lisa wondered aloud, lifting the device cautiously. Mike scrutinized it, trying to make sense of the object. It was sleek and metallic, with small buttons and what looked like a tiny screen. "This isn't something you'd expect to find in the forest," Mike remarked. They examined it closely, hoping for some indication of its purpose. Both rangers exchanged worried glances. This was starting to look more like a piece of sophisticated equipment than any natural phenomenon. "This isn't just some lost piece of gear. It's something more," Mike pointed out, eyes narrowing. Lisa nodded, her mind racing. "We need to figure out who or what left this here," she said. Mike agreed, realizing the seriousness of their discovery. They both knew this would require expert insight. They decided it was time to bring in an expert for a second opinion. "We should contact someone who knows more about this kind of equipment," Lisa suggested, setting the device back on the table. Mike nodded. "Agreed. Let's call Dr. Emily Carter. She might have some answers," he said. Lisa picked up the phone, dialing Dr. Carter's number. They hoped she could shed some light on this baffling find, feeling a mix of anxiety and anticipation. The next morning, they contacted Dr. Emily Carter, a local biologist with a specialty in forest ecosystems. "Dr. Carter, it's Ranger Lisa and Mike. We've found something unusual in the forest," Lisa explained on the phone. Dr. Carter agreed to come over immediately. "I'll be there in an hour," she promised. Lisa and Mike started preparing their notes and the device for her arrival, eager to see if she could provide any insights. Emily arrived at the station and was shown the strange findings. "Good morning," Emily greeted them, stepping into the office. "Let's see what you've got." Lisa handed her the object, watching closely as Emily examined it. "This is quite unusual," Emily commented, eyes narrowing as she inspected the device. Mike and Lisa hung on her every word, hoping she might recognize something they had missed. Her reaction left them with more questions. After carefully examining the object for several minutes, Emily confirmed it was definitely not of biological origin. "This doesn't come from any organism," she stated firmly. Mike scratched his head, puzzled. "So, what are we looking at then?" he asked. Emily shrugged slightly. "I can't say for certain yet, but it's clearly something synthetic," she explained. The mystery only deepened with her analysis, leaving them wondering about the true nature of their discovery. Her initial thought was that it might be some kind of monitoring device, but its exact purpose remained unclear. "It has the characteristics of surveillance tech," she said, turning the object over in her hands. Lisa raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Monitoring what exactly?" Mike asked. Emily shook her head. "That's the part I can't figure out. It might be used for data collection or even surveillance, but I can't be sure without more information," she admitted. With the uncertainty growing, Emily suggested they contact the police and possibly the FBI, suspecting the involvement of something more significant. "We need to take this up a notch," she advised. Mike and Lisa exchanged uneasy glances. "You think it's that serious?" Mike questioned. Emily nodded. "Better safe than sorry." "It's outside our expertise," she replied. Lisa picked up the phone, her fingers hovering over the numbers. The gravity of the situation was sinking in. Reluctantly, Mike made the call to the local police, fearing the repercussions of what they might be uncovering. "Hi, this is Ranger Mike Daniels calling from the Forest Station. We've found something that may require your immediate attention," he explained over the phone. As he talked, he felt a knot forming in his stomach. The anticipation of what this could lead to troubled him, but they needed answers. "All right, we'll be waiting," he confirmed before hanging up. Later that afternoon, Officer Reynolds arrived at the ranger station to assess the situation personally. "Good day, Rangers," he greeted them as he stepped inside. Mike and Lisa led him to the table where the object lay. "Here's what we found," Mike began, pointing to the device. Officer Reynolds leaned in, studying the object with keen interest. "This looks intriguing," he remarked. The Rangers watched intently, hopeful that he could provide some answers. Officer Reynolds listened carefully to Mike and Lisa as they explained their discovery in detail. He then examined the object himself, turning it over and inspecting the seam and buttons. "You were right to call us," he commented, shifting his gaze to the intrigued Rangers. "This isn't something you see every day," he added. His expression turned serious, indicating the weight of their find. The room was filled with a tense silence as he deliberated his next move. Recognizing the potential severity of the situation, Officer Reynolds radioed for additional support and a specialized team was dispatched to their location. "This is beyond my expertise," he admitted, speaking into his radio. Mike and Lisa felt a mix of relief and anxiety as they overheard the conversation. "A specialized team will be here shortly," Reynolds confirmed. With the area now marked as a potential hotspot for investigation, the stakes were clearly getting higher. The Rangers were advised to cease their patrols and await further instructions from the arriving team. "For now, stay put and don't disturb the area any further," Reynolds instructed. Mike and Lisa exchanged concerned looks, but nodded in agreement. "Understood," Lisa replied. The thought of halting their daily routines added an element of uncertainty to their usual tasks. With nothing left to do but wait, they returned to the station, feeling the weight of the day. Confined to the station, Mike felt increasingly uneasy, his mind racing with the possibilities of what this could mean. "What if it's something serious?" he wondered aloud, pacing the small room. Lisa watched him, sharing his concern. "We did the right thing calling it in," she reassured him. Despite her words, the sense of looming danger was hard to shake. They both knew their peaceful days patrolling the forest were now overshadowed by this enigmatic discovery. The small ranger station began to feel more like a quarantine zone as they waited for the specialized team to arrive. "I can't help but feel trapped," Mike confessed. Lisa nodded in agreement. "Yeah, it's like we're stuck in a holding pattern," she replied. The anticipation was palpable, weighing heavily on their minds. Each passing moment seemed to stretch into an eternity, amplifying the tension in the confined space. They could only sit and wonder about what lay ahead. The specialised team, led by Agent Marks, arrived at the ranger station the following morning. They moved with purpose, setting up a temporary command post inside the station while finalising their plans. Agent Marks, a tall, no-nonsense type, directed his team efficiently. "Let's get everything ready before we move out," he ordered. Lisa watched, feeling a mixture of relief and tension. The procession of authority figures heightened the gravity of the situation. The team quickly took over the investigation, marking off the area where the eggs were found and securing the perimeter with bright yellow tape. "No one gets in or out without clearance," Marks instructed as his team spread out. They carefully examined the surroundings, documenting every detail. Mike and Lisa were relieved to see the professionals at work, though an undercurrent of anxiety lingered. The once familiar forest now felt like a crime scene. Mike and Lisa felt both relieved and anxious as they briefed Agent Marks on their discovery. "We found the first object here," Mike said, pointing to a map. Marks listened intently, nodding as he took notes. "And you're sure you saw more of these up in the trees?" he asked, looking up from his notepad. "Positive," Mike confirmed. Lisa added, "We've never seen anything like this before." Marks's serious expression didn't change. Their duty now shifted to assisting the federal team wherever needed. "We're here to help," Lisa told Marks, who nodded in appreciation. "Thanks. We'll need you on standby," he said. Mike and Lisa busied themselves with preparations, making sure the team had everything they needed. "It feels strange not being in the lead," Mike admitted. Lisa gave a half smile. "Yeah, but we're in good hands now." The focus was now on cooperation and support. Over the next few days, the team retrieved several more objects from the trees, treating each one with the utmost caution. Each egg was documented, photographed, and placed into secure containers. "Handle with care," Marks reminded his team repeatedly. Mike and Lisa watched the process with a mix of fascination and concern. "There's definitely a pattern here," one of the agents commented. The forest was slowly revealing its secrets, one mysterious object at a time. Tension grew as secrets buried in the forest began to surface. "This place has more stories than we realized," Lisa said, watching another object being examined. Mike nodded. "Yeah, it's like peeling back layers of history." Each discovery seemed to hint at something bigger, a puzzle with pieces slowly coming together. The team's hushed conversations and serious expressions kept the atmosphere charged with anticipation. Whatever they were uncovering, it was significant. Despite being kept at the fringes of the investigation, Mike and Lisa couldn't help but try to piece together what was happening. "What do you think all this means?" Mike asked during a quiet moment. Lisa shrugged. "I wish I knew. It's clearly something important." They huddled in the corners, sharing theories and trying to make sense of the cryptic fragments of information they gathered from the agents. The mystery consumed their thoughts. They picked up snippets of conversation between the agents, hinting at covert operations and possible espionage. "Did you hear that?" Lisa whispered to Mike after eavesdropping on two agents. "Something about surveillance," Mike whispered back. Their shared curiosity only deepened as they caught more fleeting bits of dialogue. The words covert ops and espionage drifted through the air, adding layers of complexity to the situation. Each overheard phrase was like adding a piece to a jigsaw puzzle. One night, unable to sleep, Mike took a walk around the station and overheard a conversation between Marks and another agent. He kept to the shadows, straining to hear. "This operation goes deeper than we thought," Marks was saying. The other agent nodded. "We need to secure all nodes." Mike's heart raced. What were they talking about? He tiptoed closer, desperate for more information, but wary of being discovered. They mentioned something about surveillance nodes and an ongoing operation, which only added to Mike's confusion and worry. "We need those nodes operational ASAP," Marks emphasized. Mike crept back to his quarters, his mind whirling. What exactly had they stumbled upon in their forest? The surveillance aspect suggested something far more serious than they had originally thought. With a heavy heart, Mike knew that the mystery was only getting more complicated. Feeling increasingly powerless, Mike resolved to confront Agent Marks the next day for answers. The mysterious objects and the agent's covert conversations were driving him crazy. "Lisa, I can't take it anymore. We need to know what's going on," he said, pacing in their quarters. Lisa agreed. "You're right. We deserve to know." Mike nodded, finally feeling some resolve take shape. Tomorrow, he would corner Marks and demand answers. The next day, Mike approached Marks, requesting more transparency about the situation. "Agent Marks, we need to talk," he began, catching up to the agent in the hallway. Marks glanced up, eyebrow raised. "What is it, Ranger?" Mike took a deep breath. "We've been patient, but we need to know what exactly is happening here." The words hung in the air, heavy with expectation and tension. Marks seemed to weigh his options. Marks hesitated, but eventually agreed to share some information, given the Ranger's crucial role in the initial discovery. "All right, follow me," he said, leading Mike to a private room. Lisa joined them, and Marks shut the door behind them. "You've earned the right to know a bit more," Marks began, "but this must stay between us for now." Mike and Lisa sat down, eager for the answers they'd been craving. He explained that the objects were indeed some form of surveillance equipment, possibly linked to an international smuggling ring operating in the area. "These devices have been found in other regions too," Marks disclosed. Mike's eyes widened. "Smuggling? In our forest?" Lisa was equally stunned. "We never even guessed," she murmured. Marks nodded. "It's been difficult to track, but these devices help relay information crucial for their operations." Their presence in the forest was both accidental and intentional, serving as a relay for information likely passing through the region. "They're using our forest as a conduit," Marks explained, spreading a map on the table. "It's both a hiding spot and a strategic node." Mike was taken aback. "So, they might not even know it's here until they need it?" Marks nodded. "Exactly. It's a blend of luck and planning on their part." This revelation shocked Mike and Lisa, who had only considered natural or scientific explanations. "We thought maybe it was some rare insect nest or bird," Lisa admitted, shaking her head. Mike nodded, echoing her disbelief. "Yeah, smuggling wasn't on our radar at all." The stark difference between their assumptions and reality was hard to process. "This changes everything we thought we knew about our own forest," Mike said, voice full of awe. Marks emphasized the importance of remaining discreet to avoid public panic. "This information doesn't leave this room," he warned. "If word gets out, it could jeopardize the investigation and cause unnecessary alarm." Mike and Lisa nodded, knowing the weight of what they had just learned. "Understood," they said in unison. The balance between wanting to know more and needing to stay silent was a difficult one to manage. As the investigation deepened, a breakthrough came when the agents deciphered data from one of the devices. "We got something," an agent called out, drawing everyone's attention. Marks and the Rangers hurried over. "What does it say?" Lisa asked, leaning over the screen. "It points to a location near here," the agent replied, scrolling through the data. Mike felt a surge of anticipation. "Could this be the tip we need?" Marks nodded. The information pointed to a nearby abandoned cabin as a potential hub for illicit activities. "It's an old hunting cabin, not far from here," another agent explained, pointing at the map. Mike and Lisa exchanged a glance. "We know that place," Mike said. Lisa nodded. "It's been empty for years." Marks looked determined. "Then it's time we paid it a visit," he said, studying the location coordinates intently. A joint operation between the federal agents and local police was planned to raid the cabin. "We'll coordinate with local authorities to ensure everything goes smoothly," Marks announced, briefing his team. Mike and Lisa stood by, ready to offer their local knowledge. "We'll help guide the way," Lisa said. Mike nodded in agreement. The urgency of their mission was clear, and the team quickly mobilized. The raid was set to commence at dawn. Mike and Lisa were asked to guide the team through the forest, leveraging their knowledge of the terrain. "Follow us closely," Mike instructed, taking the lead. Lisa stayed at the back, ensuring no stragglers were left behind. The forest felt different today, the dense trees holding a secret they were about to uncover. The air was thick with anticipation as each person moved cautiously, eyes scanning for any sign of the cabin. With mounting anxiety, Mike prepared himself for what could be a dangerous encounter. "Stay sharp, everyone," he whispered, hand hovering near his holstered weapon. Every crackling twig and rustling leaf amplified his sense of urgency. The unease gnawed at him, but he knew they needed to press on. He exchanged a quick, reassuring glance with Lisa. Both understood the potential risks, but were committed to seeing this through to the end. The plan was set in motion, and everyone hoped this would be the key to unraveling the mystery. "Positions ready," Agent Marks signaled, and everyone took their places around the cabin. Mike's heart pounded as they waited for the go-ahead. "Let's make this count," Lisa murmured, gripping her radio. They all held their breath as the seconds ticked by, each hoping that this operation would finally yield the answers they sought. The raid on the abandoned cabin unfolded swiftly and efficiently, leading to the arrest of several suspects and the recovery of more equipment linked to the surveillance nodes. "Clear!" shouted an agent as each room was checked. Mike and Lisa assisted with securing the perimeter. Inside, Marks and his team collected evidence. "This might be the breakthrough we needed," Lisa remarked quietly. The atmosphere buzzed with the energy of a mission accomplished. Forensic analysis confirmed that the eggs were high-tech spy devices used to monitor and transmit data about smuggling routes through the forest. "These things are more sophisticated than we thought," an agent said, displaying the innards of one device. Mike shook his head in amazement. "All this time, right under our noses," he marveled. Lisa couldn't hide her astonishment either. The devices were a pivotal part of a much larger operation. The discovery of these devices not only disrupted the smuggling ring, but also shed light on the extensive network they had established. "We've only scratched the surface," Marks commented during the debrief. The evidence pointed to a well-coordinated operation spanning multiple regions. Mike and Lisa felt a sense of victory, but knew more work lay ahead. "At least we've made a significant dent," Lisa said, feeling a mixture of relief and resolve. With the situation now under control, Mike and Lisa reflected on the strange series of events that began with a simple patrol. "I never imagined things would escalate this way," Mike said, shaking his head. Lisa nodded, leaning against a tree. "Who would have thought those weird eggs would lead us here?" she replied. They both felt a sense of pride in their roles, but remained aware of the challenges lying ahead. Their dedication to their duty had ultimately helped dismantle a significant criminal operation. "I'm proud of what we've accomplished," Lisa said, a smile breaking through her usual stoic expression. Mike grinned back. "Couldn't have done it without you," he replied. They shared a brief moment of camaraderie, knowing their teamwork had made a tangible difference. The forest stood as their silent witness, having been both a battleground and a place of redemption. The forest, once a serene sanctuary, had become the unlikely stage for an international crime drama. "It'll take some getting used to," Mike mused, eyes scanning the familiar yet transformed landscape. Lisa nodded. "Yeah, but it's still our forest." They both knew that while the setting had changed, their commitment to protecting it remained steadfast. The echoes of their adventure would linger, adding a new layer to the forest's storied past. The unusual eggs that Park Ranger Mike had first noticed were actually high-tech spy devices. "From the moment we saw those things, I had a feeling it was something big," Mike admitted. Lisa chuckled lightly. "You were right about that." They both felt a renewed sense of purpose and vigilance. The forest, though it held secrets and dangers, was their domain, and they were its guardians, ready for whatever came next. These devices were used to monitor and transmit data about the smuggling routes through the forest. They've been mapping out the entire area, Marks explained. Mike leaned in closer, fascinated. So, every movement, every transaction, they had eyes on it, he remarked. Lisa nodded thoughtfully. The complex intricacies of the smuggling operation began to reveal themselves through this technology, making it clear that this wasn't just a small-time gig, but something much larger. The operation that Mike and Lisa had stumbled upon was far more significant than they initially thought. It's not just about illegal goods. This is huge, Mike said, shaking his head in disbelief. Lisa glanced at the maps and devices. We were patrolling these woods, completely unaware of what was happening right under our feet, she commented. The depth of the operation they had uncovered surpassed any of their wildest imaginations. Their investigation had inadvertently uncovered an extensive smuggling network. This is international, Mark stated grimly. Lisa and Mike exchanged glances, understanding the gravity of their discovery. So, we were part of a bigger picture without even knowing it? Lisa asked. Marks nodded, confirming their suspicions. The realization hit hard, knowing that their quiet forest routines had been overshadowed by such illicit activities. Their forest had become a crossroads for crime. The relentless work of the rangers had led to the disruption of a highly secretive operation. We've put a major dent in their plans, an agent commented. Mike felt a sense of accomplishment washing over him. All that effort didn't go to waste, he said, satisfied. Lisa nodded. No, it didn't. Their efforts had turned the tide, helping law enforcement to dismantle a hidden network that thrived in their unsuspecting forest. The dedication of Mike and Lisa had not only safeguarded the forest, but also played a pivotal role in a major law enforcement success. You both have been invaluable, Marks admitted during the debrief. Mike and Lisa exchanged proud smiles. Protecting the forest is our job, Mike replied. The rangers gained a new respect not only for their everyday responsibilities, but also for the broader impact their vigilance could have. The forest, once a place of tranquility, had revealed a hidden and dangerous underworld. It'll never look the same to me, Mike confessed as they walked the familiar paths. Lisa agreed. We've seen beneath its surface now. The forest held more secrets than they could have ever imagined, and it had changed their perspective. While the beauty of the forest remained, its hidden dimensions added a layer of complexity to their duties. Despite the challenges and dangers, Mike and Lisa felt immense pride in their contribution to unraveling the mystery. We did something big here, Lisa said, standing tall. Mike nodded. We sure did. Their cooperation and bravery had transformed an everyday patrol into a significant law enforcement effort. They both understood the gravity of their actions and felt a renewed sense of purpose. Their partnership had made all the difference. Their partnership and bravery had turned what started as a routine patrol into a critical police operation. From just checking on the trees to calling in the FBI, Mike marveled at the progression. Lisa chuckled, "Talk about a turn of events." They both acknowledged how their quick thinking and decisive actions had paved the way for significant breakthroughs. It was a testament to their dedication and the unpredictability of their roles. In the end, the forest was safer and justice had been served. We've made a real difference, Lisa stated with satisfaction. Mike nodded, feeling the weight of accomplishment. And we've ensured this forest remains a sanctuary, he added. The results of their work provided a sense of fulfillment. Their actions had not only solved a mystery, but also safeguarded the natural beauty and integrity of the place they loved and protected. Mike and Lisa returned to their duties, ever vigilant and aware that even the quietest corners of the world can hold the deepest secrets. We'll always stay sharp, Mike vowed. Lisa nodded, and ready for anything. Their forests, rich in history and now equally rich in hidden tales, stood as a testament to their dedication. The rangers knew their responsibilities extended beyond the visible, always prepared for the unexpected.